Alright guys, today's goal, we're going to be covering radical equations and applications of it. Okay, so radical equations means we're going to be dealing with roots here. So we have square root, we have cube root, we have things like that. So, alright, so before we can get rid of the plus 1, we got to get rid of the radical. So, you're going to square both sides. Because the square root of x plus 1 squared is just x plus 1. Equals 9, subtract 1, you get x equals 8. Now, they want you to check it. So what that means is go back to the original, substitute your value in. 8 plus 1 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. Now, here's the thing. 3 equals 3, so we're good. Here's the thing. This is where we have to be careful, okay? This says positive root. We are not solving an equation, so you don't go plus and minus. You just take whatever root they want you to. Okay? So let's take a look at some more. Alright. So here, there's nothing we can add, subtract, so we have to square both sides. Now this is where we got to be careful. This side is just 3x plus 9 still. But here you have to remember 2 squared, 4. Square root of x squared, x. Okay, so you have 3x plus 9 equals 4x. Subtract the 3x. X equals 9. So if we plug that back in to check, you have 3 times 9 plus 9 equals 2 times square root of 9. So 9 times 3 is 27 plus 9, 36. 2 times 3, 6 equals 6, so we're good. Okay? Let's take a look at another one. Alright, so here it says square root of x equals negative 4. So we square both sides. You get x equals 16. So if we plug that back in, you get square root of 16 equals negative 4. Well, the square root, does 4 equal negative 4? No, then this is extraneous, and the correct answer is no solution. Okay? Because, see, this is what I was talking about. See, it wants, since there's no negative outside of here, it wants the positive square root of 16. Okay, you can't go plus or minus and say, yep, it works. Let's take a look at some more. Alright, this is going to be the same process, but there's going to be a little more work, alright? So, don't copy down what I'm about to write initially here. So, here's the thing. We're going to square both sides. You can go ahead and copy that down. But now, do not copy this. This is where you got to be careful. 2x minus 1 squared. It is not this. Or this. It is not that. You can't distribute the squared. Very, very common mistake made. Okay? So rather than thinking about the rule that we could follow, realize that 2x minus 1 squared means this. 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. This equals 10x plus 9. It just gets rid of the square root. So now if we multiply things out, you get 4x squared minus 2x minus 2x plus 1 equals 10x plus 9. So I have 4x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 10x plus 9. Now we got to get it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract the 10x, subtract the 9. Subtract the 10x, subtract the 9. I get 4x squared minus 14x minus 8 equals 0. So next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to divide everything by 2 because they're all even to try to make the numbers smaller. So I get 2x squared minus 7x minus 4 equals 0. So now you have to do A times C multiplies to negative 8. They have to add to equal B. So negative 7, so you have negative 8, positive 1. Remember, a is 2, so that means you got to have 2x and 1x. Then you think, what do you multiply 2 by to have it equal negative 8? Negative 4 goes in the opposite. What do you multiply 1 by to have it equal 1? 1. Okay? So then you have 2x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0, x equals 4, x equals negative 1/2. Okay? So now what we have to do is go back and plug them in and check them both. And when you do that, x minus 1/2 is extraneous, so the only answer is x equals negative 1/2 is extraneous, so the only answer is x equals 4. Okay? Let's take a look at another example here. Alright. So again, we're going to square both sides. So you have 3 minus 2x equals 4. Subtract 3. Negative 2x equals 1. Divide by negative 2. X equals negative 1/2. Substitute it into check, just like we did on the previous. You get 3 plus 1 equals 2, so square root of 4 equals 2, so 2 equals 2, so check. So it can be. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at more examples. Alright, so this has square root, this has square root, but they're both alone, so that's good. So all I gotta do is square them. And you get 3t plus 1 equals t plus 15. Subtract the t, subtract the 1, you get 2t equals 14. Divide by 2, you get t equals 7. Plug it back in to check to see if it works. You should get square root of 22 equals square root of 22, so that is true. So we're good. Let's take a look at some more. Alright, now this one's slightly different because we have t to the 3/2. Okay? So let's look at this two different ways. One, we could change this to the square root of t to the 3rd equals 8. So how do we get rid of square root? We square it, and you get t to the 3rd equals 64. How do you get rid of to the 3rd power? You cube root, and the cube root of 64 is 4. Okay? If you plug that back in and check. So there's one way. Now the other way you could take a look at this is you dip t to the 3/2 equals 8. Whenever you have a rational exponent, meaning the fraction of a rational number, so you raise it to the reciprocal. Because remember, power to a power you multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1, so you have t equals, and then if I change this, it'd be cube root of 8 squared, which is cube root of 64, which is 4. So they both work out the same way. Okay? So let's take a look at some more. Alright, so here we have a couple square roots and they're on the same side. That's not good, okay? We do not want that. So before I do anything with this, I'm going to add this one over to the other side. So I'm going to have square root of x plus 1, I just brought it down, equals 1 plus square root of x minus 4. Now, we couldn't get them both by themselves, so there's going to be some work here, but watch. We're going to square both sides. So this side is going to be x plus 1. This side, you want to think about it like this, remember? Whenever there's addition or subtraction in between the terms, copy it down twice. And then what you're going to want to do is distribute. So that equals 1 plus the square root of x minus 4 plus the square root of x minus 4. And then here's the thing. This one can be a little tricky, but when you multiply these, think about that. It's like this. It's square root of x minus 4 times the square root of x minus 4. Well, isn't that the same thing as square root of x minus 4 squared? So it just gets rid of the square root. It doesn't change anything underneath the radical. Okay, so it'd be plus x minus 4. Don't forget to bring down the x plus 1. So if I combine like terms, I get x plus 1 over here, and then I'd have 1 minus 4 is negative 3 plus 2 square root x minus 4s. Because look, I have 1 squared x minus 4 plus 1 squared x minus 4, so it's 2 squared x minus 4s. And I already got rid of the 1 and the minus 4. What do I still have there? The x. Okay? So now we got to keep going. So I want to add the 3, subtract the x. So I get 4 equals 2 times the square root of x minus 4. Now, I'm going to do it one way here in particular. So normally I would say divide both sides by 2, but I'm going to show you how to do it without in case, because I wouldn't want a fraction here. If this was a 5, I wouldn't want that. So I'm going to show you how to do it when you can't divide. So if you can divide like that, go ahead and do it. But if you can't, you still square both sides now that the square root's by itself, and you'd get 16 equals 4 times the quantity x minus 4. So you get 16 equals 4x minus 16. Add the 16. You get 4x equals 32. So I have divide by 4. You get x equals 8. Don't forget to plug it back in and check. If you did plug it back in and check, it did work, so it is a solution. Alright, now we get into the word problems, guys. Everybody's favorite. So let's go. Alright. It says, a guy wire is attached to the top of a cell phone tower that is 100 feet tall. The wire is attached to the ground at a distance of 50 feet from the base of the tower. So we know it's 100 feet. It's attached to the ground 50 feet away. Okay. Draw a picture. Okay, we just did that. It says write an equation that is appropriate for this situation. And we're looking for x. Well, it's a right triangle, so we're going to be using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you have 100 squared plus 50 squared equals c squared. Or in our case, x squared. So so you do 100 squared plus 50 squared, add them together. You should get 12,500 equals x squared. Square root both sides. You get x equals, now we're not going to use plus or minus because you're never going to have a negative length. And it's going to be approximately 111.80 feet. Now, if it says exact answer on a test or quiz, then I guess we got to give the exact answer. So what we need to do is we need to remember how to simplify this. Okay? So I see that it's got 2 zeros, so I'm going to change that to 100. Square root of 100 times square root of 125. And that's 10 times the square root of 125. Well, I know I can divide 125 by 25 as well. So now I have 10 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 25 times the square root of 5. So that'd be 10 times 5 times the square root of 5. So it'd be 50 square root 5 feet. But for me, it's that, because I've never heard anyone say, yeah, that's a distance of 50 square root 5 feet. Okay? So let's take a look at another one. Alright, it says, an object is dropped from the top of a cliff that is 80 feet tall. Okay, so right away I just think, boop, 80 feet. Okay. What is the velocity of the object as it strikes the ground? Okay, velocity equals 2 times the square root of 2 times gravity times height. Okay, well, so velocity equals square root of 2gh. Gravity is 32 feet per second squared. So we want to say the velocity equals the square root of 2 times 32 feet per second times 80 feet. Okay? Feet per second squared, sorry. So now we have velocity equals the square root, and multiply all those out. So 2 times 32 times 80. You get 5,120, and now we have feet squared over seconds squared. So when we go to square root the feet squared and the second squared are going to change to feet. So we're going to end up with the velocity equals something feet per second, which is what we want. Okay, and just do second square root of 5,120. So you'd have approximately 71.54 or 0.55, sorry, feet per second. Okay? All right. We'll see you guys in class.